The history of Christian music. Christian music has a long and rich history dating back at least 2,000 years. This evening, I shall provide to you a brief history of Christian music. The beginning of Christian worship music can be dated back to the influences from the Greeks, Syrians, and Hebrews. In the beginning, the music was primarily monophonic unison melodies with very minimal harmony or counterpoint. The first sign of hymns were seen in Syrian churches that started using antiphonal singing methods that made the worship music a bit more interesting. Over the years, Christian worship music became more complex, and it got to the point where it was hard to understand the words that were being sung. Because of this issue, the Council of Trent decided to meet with church leaders to address this issue, and they decided to make worship music reasonable in terms of difficulty so that all members of the congregation could participate. Throughout the 1600s and 1700s, many of the world's greatest composers started creating Christian music that still stand as some of the best known and loved Christian compositions in the world today. J.S. Bach was one of the first composers to jump on board, and he composed Christian mass songs in all 24 keys. The most famous of his compositions was B Major Mass. Other well-known composers followed suit. The cantata, a religious musical that involves 5 to 8 movements with soloists, ensembles, and choruses, was first brought about by Scarlatti, shortly followed by Handel, who created the oratorio, a religious opera with a narrator. The Messiah was one of Handel's best-known compositions and still one of the most popular classical songs today. Mozart, one of Italy's most famous composers, created 18 masses, but they were incredibly long, so only small portions were used within church services. Haydn, another renowned classical composer, wrote very happy and enlightening Christian music that focused on having faith in God. Later in the 18th century, it became the fashion for composers to literally steal the melodies of popular songs and change the lyrics and relate them to Christian worship. It was during this period that many popular hymns and choruses came about in the church. The 19th and 20th centuries saw a new freedom of music style called the liturgical movement, which involved reforming church worship music to suit the ever-changing taste of the congregation. The liturgical movement wanted to attract a younger generation of modern churchgoers while managing to preserve the beauty of traditional Christian music. Doesn't that sound familiar? This was done by setting religious texts to popular folk songs to encourage the congregation to join in singing. One of the most famous hymns created using this method was Amazing Grace. The last stage in Christian music history was the birth of contemporary Christian music. This began in the 1950s and 1960s and was created to help attract more youths to the church, which was starting to have a stigma of being boring and traditional. Since the birth of contemporary Christian music, a huge range of genres have emerged, including Christian rock, pop, rap, country, and reggae. Contemporary Christian music is constantly evolving and is largely similar to the styles that are popular in the non-Christian music world. Tonight, our Oliver family would like to share with you hymns of the past and the present. Due to time constraints, we've had to limit the scope of our music presentation. Now,